Hi guys, gals, and non-binary pals. I'm Beka Haze, and this is Makeup with your mental health, where I'm a normal person that talks to you like a normal person. And today, we're going to be talking about cluster personality disorders, what they are, why they are, and what they mean. And also, why ableist language in our mental health industry is not that wicked. So, let's begin. Following presentation has triggering topics and may be effective to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. So today we're going to be talking about cluster personality disorders and what that means, which means cluster A, B, and C personality disorders, and the ableist language inside of the mental health industry. Because I find a lot of the language is not the kindest and uses a lot of words and phrases, which makes somebody like me, and probably somebody like you who's watching, feel pretty awful. So what is a personality disorder? Professionals consider somebody to have a personality disorder when their relationships are severely impacted with themselves and with others. They must remain consistent throughout different situations. However, the symptoms cannot be due to different hormonal differences, development differences, or the influence of substances. Now, what I mean by developmental differences, I mean like teenage hormones and PTSD. Now, there are 10 different personality types with all different symptoms. Professionals sort these personality disorders into different clusters, which are cluster A, B, and C. These clusters make patients think and behave in different ways. Tape time. God, I hope they're even. So I had asked my collective hive mind of people I love and trust to guide me through this makeup look I'm doing today, and they told me to do some smoky eyes, some gold, some orange, and I think that's what I'm gonna try to do today. So let's see where I go. So the first cluster is cluster A, which is considered odd and eccentric, which is not unlike myself, but my personality disorder is not this one. I also do have a personality disorder. And I would like the comments down below to guess which one I am. In the cluster A personality disorders, we have schizoid personality disorder, we have schizotypical personality disorder, and we also have paranoid personality disorder. Now today we are not going to get into all the different symptoms of the personality disorders because we don't have the time for it, because there's so many different personality disorders that we are going to be covering, but we will be covering them specifically bit by bit in future videos, I promise you. And let's see if they're even. Good enough for me. And next up, we have cluster B personality disorders, which are described as being dramatic and erratic. And they as in the professionals, say that cluster B personality disorders are considered to be dramatic and overly difficult to predict. They also say that these symptoms make it difficult to maintain and create a relationship if you have a cluster B disorder. And I would like you to know that I do have a cluster B disorder, and I would like you to guess which one of these 4 I have. Make your guess in the comments down below. I'd also just like to say that this new primer oil that I'm using, that's the first thing that you saw me using at the beginning of the video, is making my foundation clump all over my face. You might not be able to see it because of the lighting, but it's not looking all that groovy. That's okay. Oh well, that's makeup. Now, the different personality disorders of cluster B are histrionic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and antisocial personality disorder. Now, with cluster C, we have the fearful and anxious personality disorder. Now, I also don't like a lot of the language used for this personality disorder. So instead, I'm going to say that somebody with a personality disorder in cluster C has an inability to face their fears but because of their personality disorders. Not that they're fearful or that they're avoidant in their own way. And the personality disorders that are in cluster C, obsessive compulsive disorder, dependent disorder, and avoidant disorder. Now, the causes of a personality disorder are based on our personality and also our environment. And what makes up personality? Well, that is emotions, thoughts, behaviors, all those amazing little things that makes up you and me. And they start off typically in childhood, like about 2 to 3 years old. And the thing that shapes up our personality is both genes and our environment. Now, the thing about having genes and our environment is that you may be more susceptible to developing a personality disorder depending on your genes. And then because of your genes, you may have a triggering episode into your development that will bring up personality disorder. Now, your risk factors for developing a personality disorder are a family history of having personality disorders or other mental illnesses, abusive, unstable, or chaotic family history growing up during your childhood, being diagnosed with childhood conduct disorder, and also variations in brain chemistry and structure. Now, I'd like to talk about our ableist language in our mental health industry, where we're talking about using the words like disorder and dramatic, erratic, anxious, and stuff like that. When we use language like this is implying that people with mental illness are lower than those that do not have mental illness, which isn't the case at all. Those of us, like myself, that do have mental wellness struggles are perfectly just like you and me and those that are neurotypical. We are perfectly fine, although we just struggle a little bit more. We need to have medication. We need to have therapy. We need to have resources that make us functioning in today's standards. And if that's not acceptable to you, then you gotta figure it out. I'm sorry. Once we have acceptable language, and not even just acceptable language, but language that isn't making fun of somebody that has anxiety or is dramatic, then we have a more accepting society. And that is why we're here today. And that's all I really hope for our society. And there we have it. All we have left to do is the spray, and my new spray is, I love it. And I would just like to say thank you to everybody watching and everybody that's sharing, commenting, liking, subscribing. Please, everybody, comment, like, subscribe, all that wonderful, amazing stuff, because it makes me happy and it makes me able to have the motivation to keep making these wonderful videos. And I would like to say thank you for being you. Goodbye. I love you.